Several months ago, as of the making of this video, we began a series asking the question and trying to answer, who were the Puritans? And so we spent several episodes going through different books that answer that question and looking at different aspects of the Puritans, what they believed, where they came from, their influence on church history later. And one book that I had intended to review but was unable to at the time was Peter Toon's Puritans and Calvinism. So this is several months late at this point, if you're watching in time, but but I have to, I'm just going to go as I go. But this is a 100-page book, so it's very short. It's 110 pages with notes, an appendix, and an index. Just kind of a paperback book, nothing special here, just a glued standard book. It's printed in Korea, so that's interesting to say the least. I think this is the only book that I own that is printed in Korea. If you are new, welcome to Petra Publications. My name is Davis, and here on the channel I review Reformed Christian books, though sometimes I do step outside of that realm and may review a book that isn't even Christian if I found it edifying and would like to share that with you. If you've been watching for a while, I thank you very much, and links to my Patreon and PayPal are in the description down below. Thank you so much. As we continue in the review, all links to books or other resources that I may mention in this video will be down below, so avail yourself of that if you are interested. So a little information about Peter Toon. He was born in 1939. I couldn't actually find an actual date for him, which was strange, but he died in April 25th, 2009. He received his theological education from Cliff College and King's College London with a Bachelor's of Divinity, University of Liverpool and Church Christ, Oxford, with a doctorate of philosophy. He also, as if that weren't enough, studied at the University of Durham and earned three master's degrees from the University of London and Liverpool University. He was an expert in Puritan history, which is why this works so well in our series here, as well as history of the Church of England and the life of John Owen. He was ordained in the Anglican Church in 1973 in the Diocese of Liverpool, which to me is fascinating because that was where Ryle was. So they're working very closely there, and Toon actually wrote a biography of Ryle that I hope to read one day. And in 1991, Toon moved with his wife and daughter to the USA, where he was professor of systematic theology at Nashotah House Theological Seminary. He's best well known for his books such as the biography of John Owen, Genuine Godliness and True Piety, Let God Be God, and some 25 other titles. So, big author, big theologian. Peter was married to Vida for 47 years until his death, and Vida was extremely educated herself, and the two had one daughter, Deborah. Peter Toon was a British Anglican priest, theologian, professor, author, scholar, husband, and father. So, multifaceted man, very busy, very hardworking, and a blessing to the Church of Christ. So now we'll dive into the actual book. This is Puritans and Calvinism. I reread this yesterday, actually, to kind of refresh my thoughts, my memories, and I was not let down as I reread it. It was exactly how I remembered it being. Very detailed, very helpful, very insightful. Gives a concise but detailed history of the Puritans and Calvinism. And page 7, he addresses the makeup of this book. Let me actually go there. He says, chapters 1 to 4 are meant for the ordinary lay Christian or busy minister. They seek to introduce him to the history and essence of the English Puritanism. And then chapters 5 and 6 are meant for the more serious student of history of Calvinist theology. But I hope they will not prove without interest to those for whom chapters 1 to 4 are designed. So you have 1 through 4 are for the regular lay person, and 5 and 6 are for the more scholarly individuals looking to dive deeper into Puritan history. There are short sections within each chapter, so you have A, B, C, D all the way down, which make the book very easy to read. It's kind of difficult to begin, like I said, very in-depth. It's academic, but it's easy to read in that there are short headings, so you can read one at a time. You don't have to read large chapters. The first chapter is 40-some pages, so you can split that up into multiple settings if you were wanting to do that. And then at the end of the first 3 chapters, there is a book list for further reading, which includes 16 titles. So you're looking at more resources if you're looking into knowing more about Puritans and Calvinism and the history thereof. And then there's a fairly in-depth table of contents, index in the back of the book, which gives names and topics mentioned in the book. So very helpful there. And now I'm going to read the table of contents so that you know exactly what is in this book. And they are a preface, which I just read from momentarily, just a moment ago, English Puritanism, the Westminster Confession of Faith, the Cromwellian Church, the Savoy Declaration of Faith, Westminster and Savoy Compared, Calvinists in Dispute, and an appendix, and then the index. Very, very helpful books. So are there any better books on this topic? And probably not at this length and readability. There are lots of histories of Puritanism and lots of histories of Calvinism, but this one is so short and so accessible to anyone that I'm going to say that there's not. This is probably the best book out there, at least that I'm aware of, on the history of the Puritans. So would I buy it? Yes, I absolutely would buy it. It's extremely affordable. I think it's like $2.50 or something. I'll link to it, of course, as I mentioned, in the description down below, but very, very affordable. One worth having on your shelf for sure. So yes, I would buy it. So now I have just a few quotes. I don't have that many. It's not that long of a book. Passages are pretty long, so I don't have too many quotes, but I do have just a couple here. Let me grab some water. Excuse me. So on the first page of the book, which is actually page 9 and page 10, he is giving, how many did he give? 6 things that he says must qualify a Puritan. So if they don't follow these 6 things, they are not Puritans. He says, I want to suggest that to be a Puritan, a person either clerical or lay must be seen to possess in lesser or greater degree the following characteristics. So he's saying in order to be a Puritan, they must have this. So number 1, a commitment to the Bible as the Word of God and as authoritative in all matters of faith, morals, and worship. 2, a commitment to Reformed theology. And each of these have like a full paragraph that I'm not going to read. 3, a desire for a Reformed National Church of England. So they had to be some kind of Anglican. 4, a belief in the necessity of personal regeneration, of justification by faith and sanctification by the Spirit, and that salvation can come by no other means. Number 5, the need for reformation at national, local, and domestic level by means of legislation, catechizing, religion in the home, and fervent prayer and fasting. And then lastly, 6, a strong sense that the last days had dawned or were about to dawn. So that is what makes a Puritan. And Toon says, unless if they fall into those 6 categories by lesser or greater degree, they're not Puritans. So that's very important to the preface of the book. On page 24, he's talking about parish reformation. And this is so good. And this truly answers who the Puritans were. The beginning of this series, I mentioned that a lot of people view Puritans as legalists or murderers, that they were killing all these people, which did happen in Salem, but that was a very small portion, and that was American Puritans and not English Puritans anyway, so not the same thing. But he says on page 24, the majority of Puritan ministers subscribed, and for them, Reformation continued to mean the pursuit of holiness in personal living and in family life. A Puritan minister or layman was distinguished from other professing Christians by his emphasis on the need for biblical Calvinistic theology and regular sermons and catechizing, on the importance of personal religious discipline and devotion to duty in all aspects of life. He was often called a precisian. As we noted above, a Puritan home was the place where a portion of the Bible was read and studied daily, where prayer was offered, where 6 hard days' work were done, and where Sabbath was kept holy. In short, a place where God was honored. And that is what a Puritan truly is. That is what they were. That's what they stood for. That's what they lived by. Sounds pretty Christian to me, and I hope to one day live in the same light as the Puritans, living and breathing, bleeding, if you will, the Word of God, studying it daily and fervently in my home and catechizing children and praying often. At the very end of the book, page 101, Toon gives this section titled The Effects on the 18th Century. And he talks about Arminianism, Unitarianism, Presbyterianism, all these different things, and all these different controversies and hyper-Calvinism and high Calvinism and orthodoxy and all of these different things. And the very last sentence of the book is so powerful. He just says, can we learn from their errors? Let's not have any more schisms on so small and frivol matters. Let's truly just live as Christians together in harmony and unity in the Word of God. And yes, is the answer to that rhetorical question. Yes, we can learn from the Puritans if we only listen to what they say and all of that. So though this video came last in the series, this is actually going to be, the 3rd video of the series. So I'll go ahead and insert that into the playlist. And that is all I have for this review. Hopefully that was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching. Lord willing, I will see you again very soon. God bless.